Big up to everybody. It's your boy, MarkN MUFCFAN, and you know what it is. Smash the likes and subscribe. And guys, get a load of this. The Premier League has just launched the official squad list of every single club and their under 21s. It's interesting. It's mind-blowing. This has never been seen before in Premier League history, guys. Shout out to you, Frankie. Glory, glory, Man United. Shout out to the special one. He thinks we're doomed. But let's look at the interesting part of things, guys, because at this time, I think it's pretty interesting what they are doing and what's happening right now. Like when you look at the fact that they are releasing these squad lists, it means they're taking a focus not only on the Premier League, but also, you know, with the youths, where you get those talented players coming from, and of course, where those players are going to be and what they possibly can do for your team. I think it's really exciting because I don't think everyone knows all of our players. So let me just, give you guys a little quick run through. What I mean, we are Manchester United fans. Of course, we might run through some other teams, but let's focus on United right now because that's what's important. 25 squad players, the star asterisk next to the player who's the homegrown player. And currently, right now, Altai Bayern there, Reece Bennett, Joseph Wright, homegrown, Bruno Fernandez, not homegrown, Carlos Casemiro, same, Diego Dallo, Matthias De Ligt, Amad Diallo, asterisk, homegrown. You know what I mean? Thomas David Heaton, homegrown. Sen Lamens, just came in. Harry Jacob Maguire, homegrown. Terrell Malacia, of course. Lisandro Martinez. Nusa Masrawi. Brian Mbumo. Dermot Me, homegrown. Mason Mount, homegrown. Matthias Cunha. Benjamin Sesko. Luke Shaw. Manuel Ugarte, Joshua Zirkzee, and that rounds up the final bit of the lineup, guys. What gets really interesting, guys, is this under 21 list, as you can see, is almost, how can I say, it's three times as long or two times as long as the first team. That is pretty interesting when you make when you put it like that, when you look at it from that perspective, guys, I have to say. But let's see, let's talk about this. And the under 21 list, guys, of course, contract and scholars, of course. And it starts with one of my favorite, Victor Musa. Interesting talent, has he can play off the right wing, the left wing, the right back, the left back, and in the midfield. He's a goal scorer and an amazing defender, can play with both feet. Noah Ajayi joined the team recently. Interesting talent, plays all across the front, the back line as well. Sonny Alejofri, of course, you know who that is. A very interesting talent. Lots are expected from him. Of course, Harry John Amas, Daniel Amma, James Armour, interesting midfielder. Also plays defense at times, can get forward as well. Of course, there's Alexander Bailey, very interesting talent there. Something to be said about the quality that we have going on in this team right now. Dylan Benolil, Barbosa, interesting talent. Of course, he hails from Portugal. Very, very interesting talent. Gabriel Biancheri, our Italian attacking sensation. I would say he's had some very good seasons at the youth level, but, I think they are better than him on offer, including Ethan Wheatley. But he's an interesting talent nonetheless. Calvin Brown Jr., interesting talent. You know what I'm saying? Samuel Byrne Hughes, another interesting talent. Toby Collier, Patrick John Devaney, who's on loan at this current moment. Dorgu is also considered another 21 player, contracted there. Ethan Ennis, another interesting talent. John Fitzgerald, Jack Fletcher, Tyler Fletcher, the talented twins, of course. Tyler Edwin Friedrichsen, who you've seen a lot of in recent weeks in the first team. Daniel Lewis Gore, an interesting talent that I can't wait to see in the first team. I think he solves a lot of our midfield issues. Eli Harrison, interesting talent there. You know what I mean? Keith is another talent. He's going on loan. Aiden Haven, another talent. Hilafu, another. Gabriel Jesus, interesting talent. Ami Ibrahimov, one of the Ibrahimov brothers who are at Manchester United, and they are all extremely talented. One of them even plays for Man City. The other is a kickboxer, but interesting talents of nevertheless. Ibrovic Fletcher, a player who's shown and receiving high praise from Amarim and his team in recent months. Maybe we'll be seeing a lot of him this summer. A very talented midfielder, and he can also be very physical in the center of the park. Paul Jackson, Jaden Camerson, Kanya Bayek, Sekou Kone, who should be joining the first team very soon and providing support in that defensive midfield area. And I can tell you guys, I am here for it. The young Mali international is a big, big talent. And of course, I expect him to perform very, very well going forward and with the team, in my honest opinion. I think it could only get more interesting from there, guys. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that goes. Of course, we're going to be expecting performances all the way around. And of course, for me, of course, I'm going to be expecting it as well. So let's talk more about Friedrichsen because that's where it gets very much interesting. You know, Friedrichsen is a talent that everybody is looking forward to right now in this current moment. What can I say, guys? It's going to be interesting to see how he does. So as we look at the list now, there's Bendito Mantat. There's also some interesting talents here. Goodwill Kukonki, Kenaston Bradbury, Shea Lacey, another interesting talent. He shares that similarity with Uni that he comes from Liverpool, but it's going to be interesting because he's quite the talent. Leon Blanco, Diego Leon, as you would know him. Samuel Lusale, very attacking minded player, left wing, wing back, right wing back, winger, attacker across the front line. That's what you're going to get from that talent. And of course, Kobe Menu, Bendito Mantato. If you don't know about Bendito, guys, learn about him. Everyone's excited about Bendito. Real Madrid and Barcelona are also interested in Bendito. Sam Mathers, Finley, McAllister, Rafe McCorback, J. Paul McAvoy, Frederick Mills, Brett Misson, Jack Morehouse, Reese Monroe, William Murdoch, Jaden Nagwashi, Chidozie Martin, Obi. Of course, you know him as Chido Obi. You know what I mean? Habib Ogunai, interesting talent. I expect him to be making his way into that right wing back role very, very soon, guys. Just remember, I told you about Habib. You know what I mean? James Overy, Dante Plunkett, James Scanlon, Jaria Shah, Malachi Sharp. Malachi Sharp is a very prolific goal scorer, attacking midfielder. He can also play at striker, can play the left wing as well. Very combative, very skillful on the ball. I just can't wait to see this youngster, refine himself and get to the first team, I have to say. Jim Thwaites, Jacob Watson, Zachary Watson. Of course, they are the Watson twins. They hail from you know, let's not talk about that. But they're not from Europe initially. But what I can say, there's interesting talents all around. Ethan Wheatley, Ethan Williams, and of course, last but certainly not least, the generational Lenny Jean-Luc Yoro. And it's gonna be very, very, very exciting to see the development of this under 21 team as well as see the development of none other than, you know, Manchester United. Of course, last season was not the best situation for us. We had some difficult times. Of course, we would like to do better and improve going forward, but it was not to be. And of course, guys, we can sit and cry about it, or we can just say, you know what, we will improve going forward this season. And of course, as a Manchester United fan supporting this club for over 30 years, I would say to you all, it's not as bad as it looks in this current moment. And with football being back this weekend, I expect to see some amazing performances. Of course, I expect Manchester United to do their very best to get themselves in the best possible situation to succeed. Of course, I look forward to this clash, the derby this weekend against Manchester City. I expect us to do the damage against the citizens who are sorts of wounded. Lots of their players missing out of action due to injuries and the like. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, guys, what can your boy say? He can only say that it's going to get even more interesting as we go along, because Manchester United certainly showing that with intent with their transfers this summer, what they would like to do in this transfer window. And of course, guys, I would say to you proudly that I think that we've done a great job in this transfer window, a much better job than we've done in a lot of seasons previously. We were able to replace the attacking line that we were suffering from for multiple seasons. Not only that, but we were able to get to move on players who are unnecessary or deemed surplus to requirements to the squad in mass. 5 to 6 players, 7 players, even Andre Onana has gone to Transborospor. Who would have thought that before the transfer window began, guys? What can I say to you? I certainly think that, to downplay the transfer window because we didn't sign a guy like a believer or so, or maybe a Stiller or both, or Wharton as well. I think that's a little bit heavy-handed, because I think Manchester United have done their very best to try to make an attempt to show aggression in the market to do a good job, and to also provide the manager with options for this new season. And while, we can say they didn't do enough, can we really say that they didn't do enough, guys? Because when we look at it, it's one of those things where I feel like going forward, we could only say Manchester United did their utmost to get the job done. Of course, I would say to everyone, it's not the ideal transfer window. We could have had a better transfer window, but it is what it is at this point. It's where we are at. And the manager has to do his part, coach the players up to the system, get them prepared for the match game week. And the new players and the old players have to both do their part. Play to the fans and the manager's expectations, follow the tactics wholeheartedly, and give their utmost blood, sweat, tears on that pitch for the 90 minutes, or whenever they are called upon, be it 10, 15, 25, or 45. You know what I mean? We are going to be out the likes of Mason Mount and Matthias Cunha, who are both sidelined for the next few weeks with injury. But like what I would say to you guys, there's no need to harp on these things or stress about the fact that they are both unavailable. I expect Manchester United to have the readily available substitutions to come in and do our job. And not only that, maybe give these players a run for their first team places. And when I say that, guys, I say that because when you look at the perspective of Joshua Zirkzee starting a few games, we've seen his performances when he came on. Shout out to Ranks Trinidad in the building. What's going on, broski? I hope you're having a great evening yourself. I hope, I don't know how you're feeling about the games coming up this weekend, but certainly let your predictions in the chat. Let us know how you are feeling as well. And don't forget to smash the like button. The road to 2K is here, guys. Let's smash that. Let's grow the community all the way to 10K by the end of September. That would be fun. It would be exciting. Trust me, I will be there to be celebrating with you all and all on you friends and, Man United and football family. It's one big happy football family in here, guys, and everyone is welcome. And as I keep saying to you all, it's gonna get very, very interesting for Manchester United going forward. Of course, there are lots of different things to happen. Of course, you can see, and I will give you guys a little bit of a preview of where we sit in the table. Of course, it's going to get very interesting as the weeks turn on. This is the fourth Premier League match week going on. right now, as you can see, and currently in first place is none other than Liverpool, and second place is Chelsea. Hold on, I need to make a slight adjustment to this setting right here. It's going to be interesting if I could figure out which one it is. Yo, no, it's not that one. It is that one. No, it's this one. Okay, hold a second. So, okay. So, guys, as you can see, currently, this is the standings. Liverpool stand in first place, Chelsea's in second, Arsenal in third, Tottenham in a strong fourth, Everton, Sunderland, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, and in ninth position is Manchester United. You know what I'm saying, guys? I think we are a lot higher on the table, and a lot of people expect us to be at this point in time. There's Nottingham Forest, Brighton behind us, Leeds, Manchester City, Burnley, Brentford, West Ham United, even Newcastle, Fulham, and Aston Villa sit places. Aston Villa are 10 places below Manchester United. Talk about a horrible start for the villains. You know what I'm saying, guys? And a lot of people are stressing about Man United, and it's only game week 4. I mean, the impatience seems to be a little bit ridiculous when you look at the current score. Shout out to my buddy Bali Tech in the building. Hope you're well, broski. Looking at what I'm looking at right now, it's a tight score line in terms of points. Very, very tight from between 10th and second. There's only 2 points that separate Man United from being level with Arsenal, who's in third place. Of course, Man United share the same amount of points as Leeds, Brighton Hove Albion, Nottingham Forest, and all of us. Man United have the best goal difference of them all. That is wild. It is wild, guys. You know what I'm saying? But interesting, good facts, good things to note. Very, very, very. And I would remind you guys, please make sure to do your updates to your fantasy teams. Don't forget that you have to get in the game. You know what I mean? You need to get yourself in the game, not lose, and not forget, and not have to worry about making excuses about not performing. You know what I mean? Because it's there to be won. Everyone has a chance, and certainly you do as well. I would say, I expect everyone in the group runnings to fight their way to the top and get themselves into a good position. You can just about see Manchester United at the bottom of your screen there in ninth place. Of course, it's going to get very techy. Manchester United comes up against Manchester City tomorrow. Of course, there's a lot of interesting games going on tomorrow. You know what I mean? Match week 4. You see the likes of, I'm going to bring it to the screen very shortly, guys. Hold on, I need to make that edit again. 1 second. So let's do this, do that. Okay. So, guys, as you can see, match week 4, you know what I mean? Arsenal are going to get things off on the way versus Nottingham Forest at midday tomorrow, 12:30. Then you're gonna see the likes of Bournemouth facing Brighton Hove Albion, Crystal Palace versus Sunderland, Everton versus the Villains, Fulham versus the Leeds, and Newcastle take on the Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, West Ham versus the Hotspurs, and Brentford take on Chelsea in the last game of that day. 9 p.m. 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. CET if you're watching in Europe. Of course, there are two very big games on Sunday because it's called Super Sunday. The biggest of them all will be the Manchester Derby. But before that, you got a little bit of a warm up where Burnley is at home to Liverpool, where I am certainly thinking Liverpool will see their first loss, if not a draw, of the season versus Burnley. And if you are not watching and you don't get it, make your predictions. It's either going to be a 2-2 draw or Burnley's going to win that game with a 2-1. I'm telling you now. But you might not agree with me, but I'm telling you, Liverpool is going to suffer their first loss or get a draw of the season. And then it's the biggest game of the year, the Premier League year, maybe the second biggest game. I can't decide whether the bigger game is Man United Liverpool or Man United Man City, but those two rivalries and derbies are very much in a league of their own when it comes to rivalries in the Prem. The biggest derby because there's the only two teams in the Premier League history to have won trebles. And then there's the rivalry with the fake Reds, the Liverpools. You know the Scouse, how it goes. But let's keep on topic, guys, as Manchester United take on Manchester City. Of course, we spoke about this at length. Manchester City is not doing so hearty themselves, guys. It's a lot to be going on with the citizens because there's a lot of things wrong with their squads. Right now, they're facing a lot of injuries. A lot of players are missing through injury. And of course, Man United are only missing Matthias Cunha. Of course, guys, let me just touch this edit one more time because, you know, 1 second. Okay, you might not see me, guys, but don't mind, don't mind. You know what I mean? As long as you can see both teams' players, that's what's most important. And if you look at things, guys, when you stack up the two teams that face each other, Man United has twice as many defenders, but they have twice as many midfielders. It's going to be interesting. They're going to be without some of their players due to injury. But Man United stacks up pretty nicely against this team on paper, I would say. Not the shabbiest. Of course, we play a back five, so we are heavy in the defensive side. We suppose things might change. It will get interesting, of course. There are a lot of interesting news. The match referees, Anthony Taylor. He is accustomed cheating for Man City always. He never gave Man City a penalty against Man City in his career, nor has he given a Man City player a red card, even when deserving so. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happened. Of course, Man United and Man City, there are a lot of interesting stuff to be happening, interesting updates. As you know, there will be no Matthias Cunha. There will also be no Mason Mount for Manchester United, but there's a host of players who are unavailable, including Omar Mamouche, Ike Nori, Ryan Cherky, John Stones, and of course, it gets really techy for them while there's a lot of, players who are unavailable due to injury. But for the Manchester United, it's a positive because we are not going to be facing the strongest team. And of course, we're going to be trying to do our very best and our utmost to get the job done. And guys, while I say this to you, it's because it's going to get very, very interesting as the weeks roll on. And like I say to everyone, and like I say to And as I say to everyone, we can only do what we can. We can do what we can do. And it's Manchester United. And right now, of course, we expect our best performances and we expect to deliver performances and we expect to see where all our money has been spent. Shout out to you, Chorus, in the building. Bless up, Broski. You know what I mean? Shout out to DF Sports in the building, you know. But what I would say to everyone is, Manchester United is in a precarious position at this current time. We've had a good summer, I would say. a very solid transfer window that takes us into a position where if we do things right, the players work, the manager gets the best out of the players that he has, and develops some of the attacking talent and defensive midfield talent that we have coming out the academy. Man United at the end of the season can be shocking people. I think before the season began, we were in a top eight fight. We're in ninth currently, 2 points off second spot. Things can certainly tip into the favor of Manchester United. It's not one of those things where, it's all doom and gloom. There are positives. We are the team with the most direct big chances created. So that says that Man United have been playing directly in their attacking play, and they have been very successful at it as we lead the league in chances. That could spell a big problem for Man City on Sunday in the derby, because Man City has not been doing really well with the direct attacks. This is where they've conceded most of their goals this season. They have not been with the best form of Rodri or John Stones, and it leaves them very open. So, guys, while I say this to you, I say this to you with the optimism that Manchester United can get the job done. Of course, there will be a lot of games to warm up and look at before, but yeah, the transfers will certainly energize the team, chorus. If you see the performances of Brian and Bumo so far, I would say he's not fully match fit, but he shows a huge threat that's consistently there for 75 to 80 minutes so far. And when he gets his match fitness boots on, it's going to be for 90 plus. And I think that, that was one of our marquee signings this summer, because he provides us a threat that we lacked on that right side consistently. I know a lot of people think Amad Diallo is amazing, but he does not provide a consistent threat. He has he provides a threat in moments. And when you play for Man United, every minute needs to be your moment. Every time you're on the ball going forward, you need to be in your element. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. He is certainly going to be pushing the likes of Amad Diallo to lift his level and take his game to a whole nother level. And that is what we want to see. Of course, Cunha is supposed to come in and lift the other side of the level because he's playing the left 10. But I think Joshua Zirkzee might be stepping into that role, if not Bruno Fernandes. And of course, I think Joshua Zirkzee has a very similar skill set to Matthias Cunha, but a little bit more silky on the ball, and a little bit more creative with the ball. And of course, we do already know that our best number 10 is Bruno Fernandes, but he's playing in a deeper role and accommodating for the team, being very disciplined according to the heat map on Opta stats in the middle of the park. It will be left to be seen about the performances. Of course, yes, Rodri has certainly become injury prone since winning the Ballon d'Or, but we cannot overlook the citizens with the likes of Ryan Dares, who will be starting. He is an interesting player that not only breaks up the play, but provides a threat in the attacking third with his long range shots from distance. It will be a lot, but I think the Manchester United team is ready for this competition. We are ready to face an opponent of this level. We have been building slowly but surely, getting ourselves forward as we should do. And I think it's only a matter of time before Man United start scoring multiple goals early, start being more clinical against teams. And if we can start doing that, we could be putting teams away before the halftime. We certainly create multiple chances before the next team creates their first chance. It usually be like 3-1, and that has been the trend since the beginning of this season. So let's hope for the guys doing their best going forward, and we will see. A healthy Fernandez will keep his spot 100%, but you never know. Bruno Fernandez is our best number 10, and in my honest opinion, I think finding a way to work with Bruno in the 10 and maybe one of Cunha or Mbumo in the other 10 might be the best thing for us going forward. We have a very interesting, and I would say a generational talent in this new striker that we purchased in Benjamin Sesko. He has every single ability and facet that you would love to have in a striker. Tall, fast, physical, flexible, very good on the ball, and can shoot with both feet. So it's going to be interesting to see how we utilize him, if Amarim is going to utilize him to the best of his ability. how we're going to get the best out of this player and how we're going to be playing going forward. But of course, we'll discuss that tomorrow. There's more time to talk Man United. I've always got time for Man United. And of course, I've always got time for each and every one of you, the legends of the chat. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will be back tomorrow with more updates. Of course, it's going to be some, team news as well. Of course, there's a lot of transfer rumors flying around, but yeah, guys, you know what I mean? Put one and two together. If we so wanted Ollie Watkins, 60 million to 50, 70 million pounds would have got him away from Aston Villa this summer. If we really wanted Ollie Watkins, we would have signed him. You know what I mean? I know some people think we're going to sign Anderson, but I'm willing to take bets. You know what I mean? I bet money in January we get Stiller, and then you're going to hear that we never spoke to Anderson or his agent. But people are going to say I'm wrong. But when it happens, what can I say? You know what I mean? Hope you have a great night. Your boy MarkN. Stay tuned for more updates, and I'll catch you later on. Bye for now.